What is up, duelists? Welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're looking at Maze of the Master, another side set that's releasing this week, and I'm here to tell you guys what I think are the highlights from a competitive perspective, what new cards you need to know about, and how much potential these new archetypes have. Before we hop into the video, I would like you guys to tell me in the comments down below what you think of me doing these sort of like set introduction type videos where I explain the things that I think are good in a new Yu-Gi-Oh set, and if you like him, when exactly do you like him? Do you like him in advance, on release date, or maybe like a week after so I have some time to play with the cards myself before coming to a conclusion? Let me know in the comments down below. Without further ado, I hope this video helps you decide on what you think of Maze of the Master, and without further ado, let's begin. So, Maze of the Master is a side set. It comes with 60 new cards as well as some reprints, which we'll also talk about in a second. First up, we've got the Odion Trap Monster archetype, a series of TCG exclusive cards that recently got announced, focused around Temple of the Kings and other old school cards. Highlights here definitely include the new field spell Treasures of the Kings, which allows you to add an Apophis trap on activation and then gives you another add every turn as long as you have 2 set cards or a trap in the graveyard, which you should always be able to do in a trap deck. And it's a very powerful advantage engine that the trap deck definitely needs. Luckily, the deck has great ways of finding it, with Man with the Mark, who adds it on summon, as well as Anubis the Last Judge, which can search the Man with the Mark by discarding itself, and then later even summons itself back from the graveyard by recycling some other trap cards. And there's also a new good Apophis the Serpent trap that allows itself to summon itself and then set another Apophis trap to immediately be activated, which you can set Apophis the Swamp Deity to negate other cards because you are going to control another Apophis card. They also get a new counter trap card that lets you negate spell and traps as long as you have enough other set cards. And they also receive a great payoff fusion monster that does not need a fusion spell and resets up to 3 Apophis trap cards for like a great grind game. All things considered, these are pretty good cards. Unfortunately, I feel like this entire wave is not focused enough. I think it takes a lot to make such a slow and grindy trap deck work, and some of these cards, they simply don't add to this concept since they decided to give the deck another mid fusion monster alongside a fusion spell and some Ra support, which I feel like makes sense lore-wise, but won't help the deck much competitively speaking. Next up, we've got Tachyon / Galaxy support, which is actually a batch of pretty solid cards. A definite highlight here is Tachyon Cloud Dragon, which is basically Snake Eyes Poplar for the deck. It specials itself when it's added, and you contribute it to bring out any Tachyon from the deck, so that's a good normal summon as well, but also if you add it, it gets even better. Then we've got Schwarzschild Infinity Dragon, which is another great starter / extender. Summons itself alongside a level 8 light or dark dragon monster from your deck, but does lock you into Dragon XYZs from the extra deck. And then there's also Divine Golden Shadow Dragon Dragluxion as another great first XYZ to go into, since it adds any Galaxy or Tachyon card on summon and then just summons out another rank 8 Dragon XYZ with 3000 attack later by just ranking it up onto Dragluxion. So that's another great way to add your Cloud Dragon from your deck to your hand, then special summon it and keep going. All things considered, my prediction is that Tachyon is going to be a solid rogue deck for now. I think it falls in line with some other decent combo strategies while not doing anything so powerful that'll be top meta, but they are certainly playable cards. I do think the biggest deal about the new Tachyon support is 7th Tachyon, which is probably the biggest chase card of the set, which is why I decided to give it its own little segment, but it is also a phenomenal searcher for the Tachyon deck itself. It is a normal spell card that locks you into XYZs for the rest of the turn, and then you reveal a monster with a number between 101 and 107 from your extra deck. Add a monster from your deck with the same type or attribute and the same level as that monster's rank, but then you do have to return a card from your hand back to the deck. And some very relevant examples of what you can add with this card is, for example, you can reveal number 101 Masquerade to add a level 4 light in a Ryziel deck. You can reveal number C102 Archfiend Seraph to add a level 5 light or fairy, which can add Artifact Lancia. Those are just some examples of the things you can do. I'm sure you can work out other things with the cards that are available. It gives you a lot of different searching options, and it's just an overall powerful search tool for any Xyz based strategy. Even though it does come with a -1 attached, I think there's a lot of decks that are definitely going to benefit from this, and it is the chase card of the set for good reason. Especially if Bonfire gets limited, Ryziel is really going to appreciate the extra consistency. We've got Union and ABC support / XYZ support. They are basically bringing a new route to the ABC Union decks. ABC has been a pretty powerful combo deck with an established fan base, and now they're basically adding X, Y, and Z to the mix, which obviously get retrains from way back in the day. X Cross Cannon is a pretty powerful starter that can also be an extender because you can also just special summon it from your hand in case you draw multiple normal summons, and it does equip a Union monster from your deck to itself, which is pretty powerful. Union Controller is essentially a contact fusion by banishing a light machine plus the new Y or Z, and then it adds a spell or trap that mentions unions on summon and also lets you special summon a Union from your hand. So pretty much a very powerful card if you can get to it in any form of Union deck. They also get a new boss monster in XYZ Hyper Dragon Cannon, which is basically the equivalent to ABC Dragon Buster, but just for XYZ. Does very similar things. Overall, I feel like these cards are good, but I personally think they don't really hit the sweet spot for what ABC needed, since the deck's combos were already really powerful, and honestly, if ABC was able to pull off their combos, they were probably already winning pre-support here. And so just adding like more combo routes and different endboard pieces, like basically a new version of ABC Dragon Buster, which ABC Dragon Buster is still a very powerful card, didn't really need a replacement per se. Also, the fact that the new Y and Z are not great to draw, it's just adding a few more bricks to the deck, means that overall I feel like these new cards are good, but they don't really improve the Union / ABC deck in a meaningful way that makes it a lot better than it used to be. But still, I mean, they're not bad cards. In order to keep it precise and like focused on competitive, I don't want to go over every single card in this video, since there are a few that I simply don't think are competitively viable enough to make an impact on the competitive landscape, like new Clear World cards, but there's still a few honorable mentions and standalone cards that I really wanted to highlight here. Duke of Demise is a promising new fusion monster that requires 2 fiends and or zombies, so it's a pretty good super poly target potentially, as well as something that Fiendsmith Sequence or Chimera Fusion can summon. It does give you a second normal summon, and you can also banish it from the graveyard to add back a level 4 or higher fiend or zombie. So all things considered, a pretty good card. Also, it's a level 6 fiend for Caesar. Keep an eye out for that card. Trickstar Aqua Angel is a solid extender for both Marincess and Trickstar. It also lets you look at your opponent's hand and set cards when linked off for that perfect information. Singularity Fiend is a new hand trap that pops a monster by discarding itself alongside any spell card, which is pretty powerful but also pretty costly. But if there's ever a deck that wants to discard spell cards or wants their spell cards in the graveyard, I think this card is an option. Ancient Gear Statue is an import that Ancient Gear players have probably waited for a long time. Even though I don't think it's going to make Ancient Gear a meta threat, I think it is about time we get that card, and I do think it's worth an honorable mention. The set also does come with some notable reprints in the form of Molcharmi Perulia, Gladiator Beast Rechiari, Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor, Atlantean Marksman and Infantry, even though Mermail Abyspite is sadly still missing, but also one that is one of my favorite reprints in this set is Crystron Quarion Gandrax, which makes Crystron basically a full-on budget option now, which I think is great. I think this set is looking to be interesting, although some of these archetypes are just barely scratching, like, I think the tier 2 level of viability. I think it could be a little more powerful overall. I think 7th Tachyon mainly boosts Ryziel for now, and also allows Ryziel to search Artifact Lancia, which makes its Malice matchup going first even better, and also buffs its consistency, of course, which is always great when you're playing Ryziel. And with a future potential Bonfire hit on the horizon, I think that card is definitely the best card of the set. I do think it's worth experimenting with some of the other things in the set, like Tachyon and Galaxy cards are solid. I personally like the idea behind the Odion cards, even though I have my doubts that they're good enough. The ABC stuff is also decent. I think Duke of Demise is solid. Overall, I don't hate the set. I think it's decent. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what cards you are looking to pick up. And most importantly, let me know if you like this sort of style of video, like a more precise look at a new set. Yeah, always open to feedback. I can go in more detail, but I figured if I'm just trying to summarize the most important things in a set, I'm trying to keep it a little precise. Feel free to leave your feedback down below, and hope you enjoyed today's video.